I honestly have no clue what's going on in my life right now, and I don't know how to feel about it. I'm at such a pivotal point where I know that my next move has to be my best move. And at 34 years old, it feels so scary. I'm not in my 20s anymore. In your 30s, you're supposed to have everything together. Your 30s are supposed to be your rich 20s. And 30 has been just as challenging for me as my 20s were. Although I frolicked in my 20s, just figuring out this life thing, in my 30s, having that same kind of sentiment. But with age being a factor, it feels a lot heavier because people just expect you to have it together. And to be honest, I don't. I was laid off in the beginning of the year from quite possibly the best job I've had since I became an adult. And that was heartbreaking for me. I'm not going to lie to you. I had free health care. The job was based in Portugal. They flew me over multiple times to meet the team. They treated me well. I had full autonomy over my schedule. And the crazy thing about being laid off is I felt it months before it even happened. I'm a recruiter, and around the end of last year, work just started to slow down a little bit. And on one hand, I wanted to enjoy it and be like, oh my God, yes, I have so much time to myself. I can do so much. But on the other hand, I'm like, work is slowing down. Is business not profitable right now? Maybe I should look for another job. And I didn't because I didn't want to go down like a negative path thinking that my job was at risk. But honestly, I feel like my spirit was warning me. And I chose to be delusional. If I'm going to be honest, I chose to be delusional because I was scared of the thought of losing my job. Had I taken the proper steps in that moment, I probably would be employed right now. So I am 4 months into being unemployed, and I had about 6 months of savings. So I wasn't devastated when I was laid off because I knew I had money saved. But at month 4, knowing that I have 2 more months to make something happen, it feels like the pressure is on. But I'm also at a point in my life where whatever happens, happens. I don't want to sit here and stress myself over the hypothetical what if I don't get money? What if I go broke? What if I have to go back to the United States and figure my shit out? To be honest, that would be rock bottom for me. I feel as though the last 3 years of my life have been me intentionally cultivating such a beautiful life for myself that I could have never imagined. If you would have told me at 31, I would have moved abroad during a pandemic, just on some really like pixie hippie shit, to be honest. I didn't even think it was going to be a permanent thing. Just like, I'm just going to go here until the pandemic dies down. The pandemic never died down. Okay? So I never left. And now I'm a legal resident. I've built a beautiful life for myself. I adopted a street cat here. I brought my dog over. Like, I literally built such a beautiful life for myself in the last 3 years that I am in awe of everything I've done. I'm in awe, complete awe. And now it feels like everything I've built is at risk of being, taken away from me. Oh my God, why am I tearing up? Sheesh. It's just scary because this is like my second or third time being laid off. And previously, I was just like, I'm just gonna find another job. It ain't that deep. I'm just gonna look for another job. And I always found another job. But this time doesn't feel like that. Y'all enjoying the sounds of Mexico? That is one of the most quintessential sounds of Mexico right there. But this time feels completely different because I don't want to work for anybody anymore. I think that we build this false sense of security in these jobs when in all actuality, these jobs are not stable in any kind of way. I can remember when there was so much on TikTok and social media about a day in my life as a tech worker and doing this and that. And you don't even see that anymore because so many people have been laid off. At an instant, you can lose your income that affects your whole entire livelihood. At an instant. I'm sure my story resonates with so many other people. I just woke up, clocked into work, opened my laptop like it was any old normal day. And while I'm working, I randomly get a 15-minute meeting put on my calendar. And my entire spirit knew what it was about. I didn't even have to look at the meeting to know that that was going to be my last day of work. I knew it. And it was. And it was. So I wasn't shocked. Because like I said, I had a premonition about it at the end of last year. But the fact that we put this false sense of stability in these jobs that we're truly an expense at. We are an expense. And so when a business needs to do what's best for the business, we're the first to get let go without a 2 weeks notice, might I add. And so I am done being this indispensable. Is that the proper word? I don't know, guys. I'm just done being a tool for these businesses. And when they no longer need the tool, they get rid of it without any remorse. Because it's just business. It's not personal. But when your life depends on that income, it is personal. So that just kind of flipped my world upside down a little bit. Because I'm at this point where I just want to like show up for myself. I want to go all in with chasing my own dreams and my own passions. But it's not stable as well because, you know, you might get a bunch of gigs 1 month and the next month you get nothing. But I feel like I would much rather deal with that than to deal with working at these jobs and knowing that I have to code switch and I have to be this watered down version of myself that can fit seamlessly into this corporate culture. And I'm just so mentally done with it. Like, I'm so mentally done with it. And friends have been like, well, you can always go back to bartending. I don't ever in my life want to step foot behind a bar again in my life. I did it for 7 years. 7 is the number of completion. I am done. I want to bet on myself. I want to show up for myself. Today is July 1st, which makes 6 more months left in 2024. And I want to go all in 100% with content creation and see how it can change my life. See how my own efforts, my own creative energy can shift how I live my life. I'm not going to sit here and act like being unemployed has just been this miserable, terrible thing because in my eyes, I enjoy owning 100% of my own time. I enjoy not having to wake up and clock in and give a company a portion of my day. I really do. I've created such a beautiful routine for myself. I wake up, I go to the gym, you know, I'm boxing, I walk my dog, I go to my favorite fruteria and get fresh juice. Then from there, I go to my favorite bakery. I have a friend that lives 1 block over. We're accountability partners. So, you know, once a week I go to her house and we sit there and we plan our lives. And I love this routine I've created for myself. So even the mere thought of applying for a job and knowing that all of that has to be shifted, it sucks. It sucks so bad. And I really don't want to do it. But I'm an adult and I have bills that need to be paid. And so on one hand, I'm like, maybe I should just, you know, apply to jobs as a safety net. But I really ain't never been a plan B kind of girl, to be honest. I've always just kind of went all in on one thing and it worked out for me. With all that being said, I have revamped my resume, you know, got professional opinions about it. I feel like my resume looks the best it's ever looked right now. And even with the best resume I've ever had, I'm barely getting traction from jobs. The rejection emails are coming in swiftly. And I feel like it just kills my spirit a little bit every time I get one. But at the same time, I also feel like it's God saying, like, that's because it wasn't for you. Go after what you want to go after. It's all very, like, overwhelming. And I was watching this sermon on YouTube. This pastor, Dale Bronner, was saying, how is your heart posture in your time of waiting? Meaning, while you're waiting for the next thing in your life, are you waiting in anxiety? Are you waiting in fear? Those emotions can cause you to stress. It can cause you to ponder over 8 million reasons on how the situation can get worse. And so it made me take a deep look inside myself because I feel like my heart posture was negative. My heart posture has been filled with anxiety and stress, and I was pondering the what ifs. And so I'm shifting my heart posture to being a heart posture of faith and knowing that what's for me is for me and everything that I desire is on the way. So I'm waiting in expectancy and not in stress and anxiety. And while waiting in expectancy, I'm doing what I need to do to make sure that I'm putting the best version of myself out. It's funny because today I was applying for jobs and I put out a LinkedIn post just to be vulnerable and say that, I've been unemployed for 4 months. I would love if my network can help me out by, referring me or sending jobs my way. And someone hopped in my inbox on LinkedIn and I was excited because it said director of this recruiting at some company. So I was like, oh, this is good. Come to find out it was a scam. I started realizing as we began to continue talking, it was a scam. You're not safe anywhere at this point. I literally put out a post being vulnerable saying I really need help, and someone thought this is the perfect opportunity to scam her, which I feel is another sign for me to stop applying for these damn jobs. Seriously. It's getting ridiculous. And so today marks the first day of me going hard for myself, of me getting out of my own way, of me not being my biggest hater, of me not being easily defeated, of me really going for content creation, pitching myself, getting things together that I need to be successful, not being afraid to reach out to people I know that are doing the things I want to do and asking for a little assistance. The next 6 months of my life, I am dedicating to showing up fully for myself. Spiritually, I want to start praying every morning. I am so bad at prayer. I feel like Kanye West sometimes. Like, I want to talk to God, but I'm afraid because we ain't spoken so long. Like, I'm so bad at prayer that when I want to pray, I'm afraid to pray because I ain't spoken so long. So I'm like, oh no, like, I'm embarrassed by my lack of discipline when it comes to my spirituality. I want to get better at that. Mentally, I want to be strong, not get defeated when things don't pan out the way I think they should. Financially, I want to get the fuck out of the debt. I want to get the fuck out of debt. I'm sick of having these things hang over my head. I just want to live a really good life that I curated, where I own all my time, and I have to minimize distractions. Social media has become such a huge distraction for myself. I feel like anytime I have free time, I pick up my phone and I just go scrolling. And the crazy part about scrolling is like you're literally sitting down consuming other people's lives. Like that really blows my mind that in my free time, I would rather pay attention to what everybody else is doing with their life instead of doing something that can benefit my own. It has to stop. It has to stop. It has no benefit in my life. Man, this is a long rant, vent, whatever you want to call it, but I just need to get this all out. I have to eliminate distractions and buckle down on my discipline, on my consistency. and go hard for myself. Like, I'm at the point now, I'm so frustrated that, like, I don't even want to go out and stuff. Like, I want to be in bed by 10 o'clock every night. I want to be at the gym at 6 a.m. Like, I want to pour into me. And I don't really have time to mingle and kiki and ha-ha with y'all. For real, for real. I really don't. That's where I'm at with it. Like, it's time to go into isolation, to hibernation. And when I reemerge, you're going to get the best version of me. Woo, I feel so emotional today. Like, ooh. I'm about to faith it till I make it. I'm going to do my part and I'm going to have faith that God got the rest. I can only do so much. God ain't never let me down before. Every time I thought I was at rock bottom, I always rose to the top after that. I always emerged as a better version of myself. So I'm trying to remind myself of the data, of the analytics of my life. The analytics of my life have shown that I have always came out on the better end. Things have always gotten better for me. So if we go on data alone, this situation should be no different. It should be no different. So what do I got to worry about? I can't let the element of time, the element of age, the element of money deter me from the fact that I know I'm going to be successful in life. But sometimes it's just overwhelming. This is such a random impromptu video, but I just needed to get all of it out, man. I needed to put it out there because I feel like in these times we feel so alone, like no one can relate to us. But I feel like I know somebody